Hey everybody, Andrew Kent, Rooted&Co here today, and we are talking about should you buy an Airbnb style rental? All right, hey guys, so as mentioned, we are talking about Airbnb. It's kind of a buzzword. Should I buy one? If I have an investment property now, should I try to do it as an Airbnb or nightly rental and see if I can make some more money? So, great question. We want to clear that up a little bit, and there are some things to consider when you are looking at an Airbnb style property. The first thing to talk about is, obviously you want to pay attention to whether or not you even can. HOAs, homeowners associations, they may limit it, even if the city that the home is in or the apartment or the condo or whatever is in says you can, the HOA may say that you cannot. So you're going to want to check on that. Also, the city itself, the zoning may say no nightly rentals, even though the HOA would be okay with it. So you can't ever totally just trust a listing, and you really don't want to rely on that on your own. So make sure you've got an agent that can check into it and that can help you identify whether or not it really is a valid short-term rental. Okay, number two. So long-term versus short-term rentals and how this all works. Now, obviously, you may have a property that could rent for $1,500 per month as a long-term rental where someone's just staying there on a yearly lease or a 6-month lease or whatever it might be. Well, the reason people do Airbnb style rentals is because that same property might rent for $200 to $500 per night, depending on the time of year, which if you do the math on that is more like $9,000 per month. So $1,500, $9,000, that's why people get excited about it. But we're going to go ahead and look at a real sample here from one of my property managers here in Park City and just kind of show you how that really breaks down, and you need to know the numbers. So taking a look at this graph right now, you can kind of see that this particular property was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. So looking at it on a monthly basis, yeah, this thing's probably more like $1,800 a month that it's going to bring in on a year-long leased type of rental. But if you're looking at the graph right now, this you can kind of see on a high and a low, it's going to be bringing in anywhere from $52,941 per year, which is about $4,500 a month, to $34,000, which is again almost $3,000 a month. So either way you slice it, on a low conservative number or on a high end, it's still making a lot more money than it would be if you rented it out long term. But the thing that is not included here are the fees. So pay attention to this. When you have a property manager that is managing a long-term rental, they're going to charge you around 10%. And that's just to kind of handle getting it released. Sometimes there's additional fees for that, but it's relatively inexpensive. The reason a lot of Airbnbs don't work is because you really do have to have a management company that knows what they're doing. And they're dealing with potentially new people coming in there every day or every week. And so they're going to charge you anywhere from 35 to 50% of what you make in fees. So that $52,000 or around $4,500 a month, you got to cut that almost in half. Okay, so now you're down to $2,200 a month. So you're still a little bit better on the high end, but then you have an HOA to consider on this particular property, which was another $150 a month. So it really turned out after we really ran the numbers that a long-term rental in this property would have made more sense, but at the purchase price, it just didn't make sense at all. So we passed, we moved on to the next property. So just kind of summing that up, it's just really important that you really have the numbers. The idea makes sense, but the numbers have to actually make more sense. So let us know, talk to your agent, they'll be able to help you figure that out. And if they don't, find one that does. All right, number 3, and the last item here to consider is just your exit strategy. This may be something that makes sense as a long-term rental right now or a short-term rental. But if you're going to do it as a short-term rental, you have to realize that zoning may change. The HOA may change, and there may be limitations that happen. And I've seen this. I've had clients, I've had friends that this has happened to, and all of a sudden they have a nightly rental property that they can't rent out nightly. So again, are you in an area where that could be resold? Could you rent it out long-term? Are there restrictions to that? And you really want to make sure you're not overpaying for it, because if you do need to sell it or something changes, you don't want to be buried with fees and just really not being able to get out of it. So again, that's really a last step to make sure and look at if everything else checks out. So again, it's always great. Talk to your agent. Give us a call if you're here local in Salt Lake, Park City area, and we really just walk you through it. and help you look at each individual property and help you decide if an Airbnb style is a good long-term strategy for you. All right, that's it for today. So Andrew Kent, Rooted & Co. Give us a call. Our information is below. We're here to help.